everyone, how's it going? Angelo here. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic is the latest installment in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise that has altered the lore we once knew forever. Not that we already knew the lore, but oh boy, brace yourselves. Secret of the Mimic is quite possibly one of, if not the best FNAF Steelwool Studio era game in the entire franchise. And I do not mean that lightly. Bold choices were definitely made throughout the game, changing the lore significantly from what we already assumed with countless theories. This video will not be focusing on new theories that I definitely lost my mind on, needed to touch some grass for some clarity, and seek immediate medical attention for every twist Secret of the Mimic reveals. Sorry, I'm venting. Theories will have their own dedicated video, and don't worry, I have plenty to talk about. Today's video will focus specifically on the three final endings we can achieve in Secret of the Mimic, and discuss which endings I believe is the canon ending leading into Ruin. Before we get into the three endings, I will be providing some story context leading up to our ultimate decisions. So without any unnecessary yapping, let's get right into the video. We're introduced to Arnold, an average, overworked, sleep-deprived, regretting life choices Fazbear technician tasked with retrieving property belonging to Fazbear Entertainment by a contractor, Edwin Murray. Oh yeah, and the best part? A $25 gift certificate. Oh yeah, Fazbear knows how to spoil. He's given a data diver from Dispatch, which will be used to access different areas of the MCM facility. Well, things don't exactly go well for poor little Arnold, as Dispatch informs him of a rogue endoskeleton threat that will most likely tear off his limbs and stuff him inside of costumes like previous employees. But hey, that's just a normal day. Arnold needs executive access in order to enter Edwin Murray's office to download schematics of the Mimic Endo. Fazbear Entertainment wants to fix, yeah, you heard that right, fix the Endo to use as their own. Arnold is constantly pursued by costume mascots the Mimic utilizes. We're chased by Jackie the Jack-in-the-Box, who oddly has beef with the Mailbot, almost crushed from Big Top, looking a little familiar to Music Man. Dolly the nurse, who also wants to murder us and becomes a molten lava monstrosity. There's a really cool puppet show, and wait, is that Foxy and Roxy? Oh my god, they're so cute. Chica appears, the original Chica costume from Chica's Party World that was in the coding of one of Scott's games like forever ago. Anything else I miss? Oh, yeah. Edwin's son David is dead, MCM is losing money, Springlock suits are actually designed correctly, Fazbear is poaching employees, William Afton is awful. There's a possessed Tiger Rock costume, presumably by David. Then we access Edwin's office and download the blueprints for the Mimic Endo. Dispatch glazes Arnold's ability to retrieve the schematics successfully, and Arnold makes his way to the security office. And well, that's kind of the surface level information. At this point in the game, Arnold makes his way into the security office, where our paths finally diverge into three choices for three different endings. I definitely left out plenty of details, but let's just jump right into the endings. The first one being considered the bad ending. Dispatch is pleased with Arnold's ability to obtain the schematics for Fazbear Entertainment and has him put the data diver into the inventory tubing system. That's it. Arnold's job is complete. His van is ready and parked inside the MCM garage for Arnold to go home. On the road, Dispatch sounds distorted, almost having a robotic voice. And it's revealed the actual Dispatch has been trying to reach him all night, and with no response, fires Arnold on the spot. Arnold's verbally and rightfully upset is only taken with legal actions as Fazbear Entertainment threatens lawyers for Arnold misplacing company property. A distraught Arnold hears rattling in the back of the van and the Mimic attacks. The credits play and Arnold awakens holding a microphone. We, the player, realize we have been stuffed inside a prototype Freddy Fazbear playing on stage with prototype Bonnie and Chica in a prototype Freddy Fazbear pizzeria. Oof, getting fired and killed at the same time. Yeah, he was cooked. Now, it's time for the good ending. Instead of giving up the data diver to the inventory system, Arnold attempts to escape, but Dispatch has blocked access to the security door. Arnold ignores Dispatch and executes parachute.exe. The green couch in the room opens a hidden hatch, and Arnold continues down into a crawl space. Dispatch over the comms progressively gets more aggressive, implying Arnold's fate will be by the hands of the Mimic and will be stuffed inside a costume. Once out of the crawl space, Arnold is now above the welcome show, where we can access another helper system to start the goodbye show. The sun flooring opens up with a red button that activates as an elevator descending into a new part of the MCM facility. Big Top chases Arnold down the elevator, but it's too late when Arnold finds an open door and uses the executive access for research and development. Here is where it starts getting crazy, because we find a giant Freddy Fazbear head, presumably the project Edwin Murray has been working on non-stop for Fazbear Entertainment. Arnold begins starting up a generator and enters the stage for a prototype Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria restaurant. Near the back of the restaurant, Arnold is able to access a helper system to activate the stage lights. Activating the stage lights awakens the Mimic wearing an amalgamation of the original 4 animatronics: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Arnold seeks cover through a security door where a new audio log appears to have a frustrated Edwin with Fazbear Entertainment for changing their minds on the animatronic designs after they are already finalized by Fiona. There are 2 hallways with security cameras Arnold cannot access due to Dispatch closing the security gates. Around the restaurant are 2 stages with covered curtains that, when you use the crank, reveals 2 prototype Springlock suits with Montgomery Gator and Bub the dog. Arnold uses the Springlock suits to divert the power usage of the cameras to open the security gates. Arnold makes his way into the bathroom, where we find out from another audio log Edwin is in contact with Henry, Hen for short, so cute, and is confused why Henry does not want the Springlock suits when they are almost complete. 2 more Springlock suits are discovered behind curtains, revealing the prototype Spring Bonnie and Fredbear suits. Holy! Arnold depletes all power and enters the security office, where we discover Dispatch has been Fiona the entire time. Fiona tasks Arnold to head to Edwin's house and activate the communication sub-terminals to repair M2. The lockers behind the security office opens up, revealing a secret passageway directly to Edwin's house. A coaster takes Arnold to an elevator, but we learn Edwin is behind on loan payments, has an overdrawn bank account, and the Fazbear project is way over budget. Arnold enters Edwin's mansion, where he needs a code to access Edwin's main office by finding 5 film reels. The film reels showcase every birthday for David, with one film focusing on giving David a Foxy-like puppet plush, another showing Edwin being consumed by his work and not celebrating David's 2nd birthday. The third is celebrating David's birthday without his mother. The 4th is gifting David a brand new slide we see in the very front of MCM in the beginning of the game. And then the final film, occurring on David's final day, reveals Fiona as the Mimic with the M1 programming. What? Edwin, you freak! Arnold gains access inside the door for Edwin's office and receives a message from Fiona with concerns of the M2 programming becoming violent and that Edwin needs to finish the program for everybody's safety. Arnold enters Edwin's office, where he listens to a horrifying audio log of the M2 presumably capturing or even killing Edwin. The entire office has gone up in flames, and Edwin, the M2, made sure he couldn't walk. Arnold accesses Edwin's personal computer, where 3 options are shown. The craziest reveals of the puppet designs and Fazbear designs are all redacted, and hopefully will be revealed later on. The surveillance room is activated, and Arnold makes his way to access another computer with the Mixes program. Arnold runs Cradle.exe. Immediately after activating the Cradle software into the data diver, the Mimic appears and lunges towards Arnold. Arnold nearly escapes inside an elevator when the entire mansion in MCM goes up into flames, with Fiona's final words towards Edwin. Arnold rushes through the facility as debris is falling down, the building being engulfed in flames, trying his best to escape from the Mimic and the other animatronics pursuing him, corrupted by the M2 software. He makes his way outside of MCM, runs inside his van, and leaves everything behind. Arnold frantically drives away, being attacked by several animatronics, where hope prevails as the animatronics clear out, but the Mimic continues to pursue, punching through his windshield, grabbing the steering wheel, and crashing the van, causing the impact to flip itself over. The Mimic walks unfazed, and what seems to be taking Arnold's life actually grabs hold of the data diver, hugs it close, and trails away. Arnold is stuck inside the van as the fire grows fierce. Which now brings us to the final ending. The secret ending for Secret of the Mimic. The secret ending requires you to collect all 25 collectible items and use them in the Moon.exe program. Going through the same events from the good ending, we arrive at Edwin's mansion, where the data diver now has yellow glitching, which we can use to open 6 doors previously locked in the house. Arnold opens a room with 6 cassette players that need 6 bedtime story tapes. Arnold discovers another audio log with more of Edwin's frustration towards M1, Fiona, for having a robot raise his son. Fiona heavily suggests for Edwin to create another program for specifically David. A vent opens up into David's room, where Arnold needs to tell him a bedtime story to revert M2 back to normal. Arnold tells M2 David a bedtime story of the origins of an animal band getting together, living happily ever after. Arnold takes the data diver now with the Cradle software, fixing the Mimic, converting M2 back to David. And there you have it, a crazy ending to Secret of the Mimic. Very clearly, the good ending is the canonical ending of the game, which leads to the Mimic we encounter in Ruin that has not been saved and converted into David. I want to assume we will obviously get a continuation of Ruin, but it would make sense for another game in between to see where the Mimic ends up after walking into a forest with the data diver. Does the Mimic end up going back to MCM even though it's on fire? We know somehow the Mimic is taken by Fazbear Entertainment, clearly playing Security Breach and Ruin. My guess, this will take place in another game, possibly with Fall Fest included, or at least with maybe Henry or William capturing the Mimic. I guess we'll see what Steelwool Studio and Scott have for us next time. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been a pretty crazy video to make, and I have so many theories to create. My brain is overwhelmed with excitement. Secret of the Mimic introduced us to an extensive amount of new lore, and actually gave us a cohesive story with insane twists. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, comment down below your thoughts and theories, and of course, subscribe. That's all I have. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!